and honor to introduce our keynote speaker this afternoon, Enrico Letta, who is the former Prime Minister of Italy, President of the Jacques Delors Institute, and was asked by the European Council to deliver a much anticipated high-level report on the future of the single market. The Commissioner mentioned the role of cohesion policy in expanding the single market, so we are very much looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Mr. Letta, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure here now from Madrid to try to share with you some ideas in continuity with what Elisa Ferreira just said. I'm very pleased to be able to say a few words on this topic in this very important Cohesion Forum. I have to say I'm very pleased also because in these very days I'm finalizing the report that I will present at the European Council meeting next week. I had the opportunity yesterday morning to discuss with Elisa and with the other commissioners and President von der Leyen in 2 hours, very engaging exchange on the future of the single market. And I started yesterday exchange in the same way I will start today's word. And the key point is exactly what I heard from Jacques Delors himself when I met him in September, last time before he died. Jacques Delors was, of course, very happy because of the report on the future of the single market. It was, I think, because of him. But he told me a very simple sentence. You have to have in mind that the single market was a success since the beginning, so since the 80s, since 85, when he started and he launched the single market. It was a success only because we had a successful cohesion policy at the same time. It is not by chance that cohesion policy was launched exactly in the same time on the launch of the single market. And Jacques Delors told me, without convergence, the single market can be really a problem for the future. And I have in mind this compass. And with this compass, I turned around Europe. I visited all the member states in these 6 months, and I'm ready to present the report next week. After this final week of visits, I was Monday in Vilnius and Tuesday in Tallinn as last countries I visited, today in Spain. And I was very much impressed by the compass that Jacques Delors gave me, with this idea of convergence as precondition of a successful single market. And the reasons why these connections and these conditions are so important are the reasons at the base of what Elisa Ferreira told us. And I think the success of the single market of the future, a single market that has to change because of the geopolitical dimension, we have to remember always that when the single market was launched, the European Union name was European Community, Soviet Union was there, Germany wasn't reunificated, India and China together, maybe they were around 2% of the world GDP. The European community was at 10 when we started the single market journey. And the need today to adapt the single market at the new reality. New reality that is a very complicated one, first of all, because of the war, the horrible Russian aggression to Ukraine, that is changing something for the single market too. This changes something in the geopolitical equilibrium within the single market, with, of course, regions, neighboring regions to the eastern border, to Ukraine and to Russia, with all the problems that we are experiencing today. But the key point for the future is also related to the enlargement. I would like to say a few words on that. And I want to be very frank with you, and not to use the langue de bois, as the French say, because the enlargement will be a great challenge for the cohesion policy, and because the enlargement would be a great challenge for the European Union of the future and for the single market. I visited all the member states. I met the representatives of the candidate countries. We are approaching the days of the 20th anniversary of the biggest enlargement. April the 30th of 2024 will be the 20th anniversary of an enlargement that is a success. That was a big challenge at that time, but is an enormous success. A success in geostrategic terms, a success in political terms, a success in economic and social terms. We are all richer in Europe because of the enlargement. It was a success. We know that today, next enlargement will be challenging for many reasons, for political reasons, for economic reasons. And we know that the enlargement is a duty, is a mission. But we know also that the next enlargement will come after a big enlargement, a big sequence of enlargements that we had in 4, in 7, and in 13. And we know very well that the future enlargement has to take into account the fact that the European Union is facing maybe the most complicated period of its life. The different crises we had since the financial crisis. And the future, we know very well the big need to have new way to finance our needs. When I give a look to the future, to the next 5, 10 years, I see 3 main subjects, like the triple transition, as Elisa correctly framed the transition, the triple transition, the enlargement, and the defense issue. On the 3, we know very well that these 3 big missions are in a certain way new missions for the European Union. At the beginning of the electoral campaign 5 years ago, on these topics, just the first one was starting to become central, but the other 2 were completely out. And today we know very well that we are close at the end of the cycle of the next generation EU way to finance our growth and our investments. And we know very well that the big risk is to come back to the very poor 1% budget of the European Union. The 1% budget of the European Union is not enough for financing and boosting these 3 main objectives: the transition, the enlargement, and security of our continent. This is why I strongly believe that the big mission of the single market for the future is not only to allow mobility among the European countries, but also to complete the integration, first of all, on the financial markets, to be able to have enough money to finance these big and crucial missions. I don't want to surprise you by linking the single market to these missions. But for instance, I give you one figure that is astonishing to me. Every year, 300 billion euros, I'm not joking, every year 300 billion euros of our savings, so savings of European citizens, are flying across the Atlantic to feed the American financial market. And through the American financial market, they feed, through private equity, the American economies, the American enterprises. And the same American enterprises that's stronger cross back the Atlantic to buy European enterprises with our European money. Why? Because our financial market is not integrated enough. We have 27 financial markets and not one. And because of this weakness, all our savings are attracted by the big financial market in the world, US. I try to focus on this point because there's a link with what you are discussing today. If we are not able to be successful on integrating the single market on the most complicated issue, that is the financial part of the single market, I know very well it's not a very sexy topic. When we talk about capital, markets, finance, is not very attractive. But we know very well that if we are not able to move in that direction, to create a strong, attractive, and integrated, I will name it investment union. So a capital market that is able not to be finance for finance, but finance for investments, and to invest, first of all, in a transition and to help savings of European people, our savings, to become the way to feed the transition and the needs, the new needs I mentioned. Why is so important? Because if we are not able to have the right level of financing these new needs around Europe, in all our countries, people will start thinking that the future of the European needs, the transition, the enlargement, will be paid by the present cohesion funds. I underline this point because this point, in my view, is the most crucial point. We have to stop this narrative. I know that this narrative is an unwritten, unspoken narrative. You don't find it in any discussion or in any paper. But we know very well that the feeling we are having around Europe, it is that the next enlargement will be paid with the present net beneficiaries. Or we are worried about the next agriculture policy will be something that the present net beneficiaries will pay for. And the same for the transition and for many other issues. I would like to be very clear on that. And I would like to mention this point and to be very frank with you and telling you that this will be one of the key points of my report, because in the 6 months, I visited all the member states. I met in more than 400 meetings, thousands of people. I visited 65 cities, capitals and peripheric cities. And I had the feeling that if we are not able to be clear as European institutions on these topics, on how to finance the future, how to finance the transition will have a big cost. How to finance it, how to finance the enlargement. People will think that everything will be paid with present rules and with the present cohesion funds or with other tools. We have to be very clear. Cohesion funds are necessary for the European Union of the future. And they are necessary for the present member states, and they are necessary for future member states. So we have to be aware of the need to have a relaunch of the cohesion policy, having in mind that we have not to underestimate this topic. It risks to be the eye of the storm for the future choices. We have to work not to make the enlargement unpopular. We have to work to carry on, to accompany what we are doing, bringing all European countries there. Elisa Ferreira mentioned the freedom to stay. I want to end up my proposals, and then you will see the report next week, and I will be more than happy to visit countries and member states to present the report and to discuss with you the report, because you are there and you are the protagonist of the future of the cohesion policy. It will be successful in the future through you and thanks to you. And this is why the reflection on the freedom to stay is so important. The figures and the maps that Elisa showed are so clear, so expressive. It is clear that in the last years we are experiencing brain drain. And this brain drain is becoming spoliation for certain areas. And when you have spoliation, that means that you're losing the best, youngest, well-trained and prepared people. They leave to go in other countries to get a better future. But if they leave, first of all, the countries that trained them paid a lot of money, and this money is lost for these countries. Second, these countries are losing the renewal of their, for instance, public administration services. And we know very well that we apply subsidiarity. So on the ground, all the cohesion funds are applied and enforced by local administration. But if this local administration, they are missing the brightest part of the society, because this part is leaving, the gap will grow with the other regions. And the cohesion policy will have to work the double, the triple to recover. This is why this flagship of freedom to stay. Freedom to stay is not against freedom to move. It is part of the same discourse. But it is clear that if we sell the single market to our people, only selling the single market to the people with the freedom to move as the main flagship of their wills or their wishes, I think we make a big mistake. The future is a future that the single market has to talk and has to speak with the people who want to move and the people who want to stay. And we have to allow these people, our people, all of us, to choose our future. That was one of the main sentences of Jacques Delors, the freedom to choose your own future. This is the way of life of us, the Europeans. It's not the state choosing for you. It's not money choosing for you. It is your choice. And the freedom of your choice, of the choice of your family, needs to have services of general interest in all the regions of Europe. The possibility to be skilled, to be trained, to have hospitals, to have infrastructures, to have the digital. And the digital can be a fantastic tool today in all the region, even peripheral regions, if the digital is there, of course. And the possibility to work with this freedom to stay. If we are not able to do so, and if we continue to consider and to think that in Europe, the direction is always a one-way ticket, always from the south to the north and from the east to west, I think we will have many problems in the future. We now need to reshuffle our cardinal points in our compass. North, south, east, west. We have to create directions in any cardinal point and to any cardinal point. This is why I'm looking with big attention to the work that you have done and this fantastic high-level report that was presented. And I had a very good meeting with Andrés Rodriguez Poza and the people of the high-level report. And thank you, Elisa, for your leadership and your enlightening leadership. I think this forum will play a crucial role. I'm very happy because thanks to the cooperation we had in these 6 months, I had the possibility to put in place exactly what the Lord told me 6 months ago. And the report next week will try to speak to the future of the single market and on the future of the cohesion policy, for the future of Europe, and first of all, for what is the most important part of our continent, the citizens. As the citizens of today's Europe and of the European Union of the future. Many thanks.